The villages of Old Ekuri and New Ekuri, jointly known as the Ekuri community, are located 7 kilometers apart in Cross River State. The villages fall within Akankpa local government area and together own 33,600 hectares of community forest situated in the buffer zone of the Urban Hills Division of Cross River National Park. Around 95% of this land is covered by primary or secondary forests. Ekuri Community Forest Management began in the 1980s when the villages of Old Ekuri and New Ekuri united in response to the proposed logging of their forest. The project will have included the construction of a road linking the villages to local market centers. Instead, the community decided to sustainably manage the forest as a community asset, generating income, subsistence, materials, and food. The primary occupations of the 6,000 community residents are farming, producing non-timber forest products, and handicrafts, and small-scale trading, hunting, and fishing. This forest is so important to the Ekuri people that in the early 1990s, when they were approached by 2 logging companies offering to build them a road in exchange for logging their forest, they said no. Instead, they asked the World Wildlife Fund for Nature and the United Kingdom's Overseas Development Administration, now the Department for International Development, to help them set up a forest management organization called the Ekuri Initiative. This community-run body has been instrumental in managing the Ekuri forest and also successfully brought development benefits to their villages, including the construction of a 30-kilometer road to the villages and the establishment of a healthcare center. In 2004, the Ekuri community received the highly prestigious Equator Initiative Award from the United Nations Development Programme for their outstanding contribution to the biodiversity conservation and poverty reduction. With the Cross River State planned superhighway, the Ekuri people and their adjoining communities feel all their labors may end in vain.
Now the government is saying there's going to be a superhighway across the road, across the middle of the forest. And we are saying it's not acceptable. Why are we saying it's not acceptable? You know, for any development project, there has to be consultation. There has to be an interaction and engagement with the people. We have not been engaged. We don't know why he's doing it. So we need to be engaged. We need to understand why he's doing it. And it's clear that there is no EIA that would involve social impact assessment. That affects us. That superhighway will affect our culture, will affect our livelihood. Our livelihood has been dependent on the forest for all these years. We believe forest is life for us, and when the forest is taken away or even tampered with, our livelihood is affected, our lives generally is affected. And we are saying that is not acceptable as an organization and as a community.
On the 7th of February 2016, the Ekuri people wrote to the governor of Cross River State, copying the president of Nigeria and the federal minister for environment, demanding that the construction of the superhighway be stopped until a new route could be found. And they made it clear they would protect their forests through determined, non-violent protests. So when bulldozers started work in a neighboring community, the Ekuris started protesting.
The bulldozers they are talking, when you begin to open soil and cut soil, open the forest, try to bring out, cut soil away from the cut soil away, cut mountains, cut this, begin to build covers, drainages, bridges, highway, and every place is open. You will know that construction has started. Construction doesn't start with, let me give you an example, it doesn't start with a bulldozer. It starts with so many equipment, so many different equipment.
His Highness Stephen Oji, who welcomed us to Old Ekuri, told us the community do not desire the superhighway if the project will bring destruction to the people and their environment.
We're happy, but later we come to hear that it's going to occupy the whole, it's going to take all our forests because of this construction. That 10 kilo this way, 10 kilo this way, which mean, and this one does not affect national park or forest reserve, but only in our community forest. And we have made the whole world to know that we are conserving our forests. And through this forest, carbon credit wants to come to us that will give air to the whole world. So that that is coming to destroy all these forests because of superhighway. That was why we rejected that. If so, if he is coming to construct the road and to drive us out of this land to go stay as strangers in other places, we have refused such a route. And the road that will come to cancel the arrangement we have made both with overseas people or about this carbon credit of a thing, we have refused such a route. That if so, we say no. We saw then that if they are jamming your cocoa farm, they will pay 1,500 for a stem of cocoa, which is too poor.
Have they come to discuss with you?
At all. They have not come to discuss with us.
So how did you know they were going to pay you?
No, we are just hearing the rumor. No. We said, up till now, they have not come to see us face to face to discuss on how this work is going to look like.
There's a stubborn hill there.
The village secretary, a retired teacher, remembers what they had to do when a logging company approached the community for a right to cut the trees.
Many people have been coming here telling us to entice us to do this. Like a dog is being caved in a cave. Then, yeah, and the food is presented, the dog is looking at the food and then it's salivating. No, we don't want it. Let the government come and negotiate with us, with dialogue together. Then we find our solutions. Where we cannot meet up, then we go to where we can find solution to our problems.
Unfortunately, we didn't consult our God of the forest before we took that decision that we welcome the superhighway. And now we can see the implication that we are non-vagabond in our community and that we are soon going to be thrown away. And that's why we are saying no, that this can't happen, that this is wholly unacceptable, and that it is the highest injustice of the land, that people who have been committed with extraordinary passion to conserve their forests are now victims of conservation. It sends a wrong signal to the international community because so much of investment has been done in Ekuri community forests. And therefore, if this investment is not a wasted product or a wasted venture, then Nigeria is going to suffer the dire consequences of such.
The fear of the Ekuri land and its surrounding communities is what lies ahead when the government decides to enforce its land revocation threats.
To the community.